You guys seem to really enjoy the video I did where I made some potjiekos, a traditional South African stew kind of thing. I think it's a bit sacrilegious to call it a stew, but potjiekos. And today we're going to be making another one. I've got my brother-in-law Andre. He's going to be giving us a hand, and he's going to be showing us one of his recipes today. So Andre, what are we making today?
A mess. What we're going to do today is, I know Sean really wanted me to make the famous chicken potjie.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not doing chicken potjie. I tried so hard.
Because the last 3 times we've done it, I've done chicken potjie, and to be honest, I'm more than just a chicken potjie, right? So I decided to go something a little bit more off-piste, so to speak. So what we're going to do today is a beef shin potjie.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I was going to be doing an oxtail potjie myself, but I couldn't get hold of any oxtail, so that's why I'm going with the lamb.
I know, I may have had a hand in that. I just phoned everyone. No, I'm joking. So yeah, we're going to do the beef shin, which is...
Why did you choose beef shin? What's good about that cut of meat?
I think it's one of a very underrated cut.
Yeah.
Because of the connotations of how difficult it can be to cook and get right. It can be tough if you don't do it in the right way, but it does have so much potential and such a great flavor to it.
It's got a good amount of... Most of the meats that you cook a long time, or that you need to cook a long time, tend to be very, very flavorful.
Exactly. But and there's a lot of times, and this is a conversation that generally comes up with us when we're doing steak, is I'll generally opt for a rump over a sirloin because I prefer the flavor.
But
and generally your cuts are going to be thicker as well, which, you know.
More meat. So tell us, what have you done to prepare your shin?
So what I've done is I've kicked the hell out of it. No, the actual beef shin is, all I've done is chopped it up in fairly large chunks. I don't want to leave it too large, so it makes it easier to serve up and dish up and so on. But all I've done is marinate it in just some Worcester sauce. Worcester sauce is my go-to for pretty much everything. I love using this stuff. And then the seasoning I've used is, instead of going with just your standard salt and pepper, I used a traditional South African boerewors seasoning.
A lot of coriander. I can actually smell that there.
Exactly.
Good.
And that's the other reason why I was going for it, is because it does give you that really beautiful coriander flavor and taste, and kind of reminiscent of a boerewors, if you've ever had it before. So that's all I've done to it. It's nothing major, nothing outworldly, but it should work for it.
That's the nice thing with making a potjie as well. You can make it your own. Each one can be a little bit different. There's no set, step 1, step 2, step 3. There's a few rules to keep in mind.
Yes, look, potjie, it's a weird one. A lot of people will try and dress it up to be something that you need to be like a savant to be able to do it properly or something like that. But it's not. Potjiekos was originated because back in the day, the settlers and so on, they had to cook their meat before it goes off. So it's a matter of just dumping it all into a pot and cooking it, and that's kind of how it developed, because they had to cook it. And they had to cook something that will feed loads of people and will last. And that's kind of the very bare backbones of a potjie.
Well, talking about cooking for a lot of people, I see you also have a size 3 potjie pot.
Yeah, man.
But I got a lot of flack in my video because my potjie pot has a best duty base, but the lid is a Falkirk. Although
mine's not correct.
I really don't see a problem with that. But anyway, no, you got best duty, but so it's a size 3.
Yeah.
I would love to go one size bigger at least. I think I always underestimate
how much goes in there.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I watched your last video.
Talking of which, where's the bricks? I don't see any bricks around.
I don't need bricks. You also see there's no coverage.
So you got proper planning?
Yes. I know what I'm doing, in other words.
Okay, let's get started. Yeah. So I want to be eating before midnight. So
well, we'll do what we can. So I'm just waiting for the oil to kind of heat up a little bit more. So it's just a dab of oil in there. We're just using your normal everyday vegetable oil. It's just because it's what I had. By all means, if you want to use olive oil, do that. However, for things like this, something that I'm going to be cooking for quite a substantial amount of time, I generally prefer vegetable oil. They just seem to give me a better result at the end of the day.
I like to use lard a lot of the time, lard or beef tallow, especially if you're doing a beef dish.
It's because you're so fancy. Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Okay, so what are we doing first?
So what I'm going to do is
sweat the onions.
Again, normally when I start anything poiki, casserole, or meaty. I'll start off with my onions.
So just to point out while you talk about that, everything's been prepared. I've done that as well. It just makes life a lot easier, especially when you are layering this, because once you get started, it's quite a quick process to actually do this. The preparation is what takes the
Absolutely.
time.
I want to start off with the red onions, garlic, and the red peppers. Get that going a little bit first. Sweat off the onions, that kind of thing. Just get a little bit brown, so it's, I would say, translucent-ish, more or less. From there, we go to the meat, and then start cooking the meat. The reason why you do it that way is obviously you want the meat to be properly cooked. I mean, if you've got undercooked veg, it's fine. If you've got undercooked meat, in a lot of cases, it's not fine. So you want to do that first. And as Sean said in his previous video and earlier, the whole point of a poiki is you're doing it by layers. So you're adding one layer at a time. So a good rule of thumb is to layer it in how quickly things cook. So if you've got things like potatoes, starch, that kind of things, generally go on top of the meat, and then the rest of your veg on top of that. So that's the kind of...
So the slower cooking stuff at the bottom.
Correct. That's the whole idea you want to go for, because as, again, Sean said earlier, you don't want to stir things up. Okay, so first things first, chuck these in. The oil should be hot enough now. And yeah, here we go. I suppose I can't turn back now, can I? So what I like to do is I like to give it a good stir while it's frying, just to kind of coat the walls of the pot as well.
So you're not seasoning at all at this stage? You season later?
Don't need to season the onions. I'll season it later on. And the other reason why I tend to do that is because then I have an idea of what I need to season with, but I won't know properly until I taste it.
So when I'm talking season, I'm just talking about the salt and pepper side of it, but you're putting some spices in,
but salt and pepper, that's a given. That's standard. I'm talking about any extra bits like bay leaves.
If I was going to do it, I'm not going to tell you how to do your poiki.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
But I would probably be frying up some coriander seeds in there.
Okay.
Just because I like the smell of it, to be honest.
Good to smell. Wait, I'm not going to say it.
Smell your meat.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
I smelled your meat earlier. It smells delicious.
Good, glad. That's what all the boys say. I might actually close that up a little bit.
Okay.
Just to give it a bit more of a go. Because I think, as we discussed earlier, the setup that I've got going on here, the flames a reasonable distance away.
We discussed it. We didn't discuss it in front of the camera. Basically, Andre has, he's going to be using this KDAC sort of Bry Scottle type thing. If we have a look down there, there's quite a gap between the heat source and his pot. So this pot is a bit of a different one than the one I have. This has legs, so a tripod sort of setup. And it's actually perfectly fine. The heat source being that low down is fine. Normally you'd actually stick this on top of some coals underneath, and this would be okay. The problem is when you're starting off, when you're cooking up the meat and the onions and that, you want the heat a little bit higher than I think this is at the moment. But I'm sure it'll be fine. The setup that I have is a little different. So I have a flat pot and the heat source is right underneath, and I can get that heat quite a bit higher, so this thing would properly be able to heat up. And I'll do mine in just a bit, but let's finish up over here. How much longer you got for your onions to go?
Well, this is the thing, it comes back to what we were saying earlier. It's not a specific science, so you can put it in when you want to put it
Just
in.
once everything's softened up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually might just put them in now. It's not going to make too much of a difference, because I think that's...
And do you brown your meat? Because that's something else as well that I like to normally actually do the meat before, because I can get that...
Yeah, I know when my dad used to do his oxtails, or a lot of his poikis, he actually used to use his pressure cooker. A, to save time, and also to help keep things a lot more tender.
What, do the whole thing in a pressure cooker?
Well, meat.
Oh, the meat, before he went into the poiki pot, I was going to say.
In the pressure cooker, actually. And this is now the whole weird thing about holding the camera and so on. I forget steps. I was meant to put the bacon in as well.
The bacon, you forgot the bacon.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just neglected it. Different.
Bacon's always good inside a poiki. And normally, actually, what I do is try and get some really fatty bacon. Instead of the oil, you can fry up the bacon and release the oils from that bacon instead of adding vegetable oil or lard or anything like that.
No, exactly. But no, that's...
It really has some nice flavors.
Absolutely. Now, because I don't want crispy bits of bacon in there, I am going to add the meat in now.
Okay.
Because it's all about, not just about the flavors, but it's all about textures as well.
Smelling good.
Actually, you could probably just have it as is for breakfast, like a wrap or something.
At the rate we're going, we probably are going to have this for breakfast.
Sugar. So I'm just going to dump it all in there.
Yeah, I think this was originally meant to be lunch, wasn't it? Because it's definitely going to be dinner.
I don't know. I remembered about this yesterday.
You remembered about it? You mean you were told about this yesterday?
Yes. So I'll give it a bit of a stir. It's probably one of the, well, not probably, it is the only time you'll stir it. Just kind of try and get that a little bit more browned. As we said earlier, a bit more heat would have been nice.
Yeah, I think you need to close up the lid.
Yeah, I'm going
That's
to.
a nice thing with
But I'm just going to try and spread it out.
cast iron pot is it obviously it can build up a hell of a lot of heat. So you don't need a lot of heat underneath, really.
It's just that initial heat that you want to get it going and get your meat browned.
Well, while we wait for that, I'm going to start my one.
Good luck. Right about two. All right, so now we've got time for the spices to pop in. I've had a bit of a taste, and I decided just to go with something plain and simple, like cracked black pepper. So black peppercorns went in there. Italian herbs and spices. The reason I use Italian herbs for this is it's got a really good mixture of oregano, rosemary, thyme, and that kind of things, and I think it'll just really enhance the flavors of the meat. And then I've added in some paprika as well, just for a slightly more exotic flavor.
So no chilies in there?
No, be silly. No, I have children that I also need to feed. So
Yeah, good excuse.
yes, children. So we'll just grind this all up into a nice bit of a mixture, and then I'll pop it in there. I was going to add some salt in as well. However, with the teriyaki sauce and the sauce that I've already put in, and also bearing in mind I've put some bacon in there as well, it does give you a bit of a salty texture. That's not right in any way, shape, or form. Salty flavour. Anyway, so I don't want to overpower it and make it inedible. So I'll pop this in, and then we'll start the layering process. I have already turned this down to its lowest, to its simmering temperature, so that should do well. I'm obviously not going to add all of this, because I think that would be a bit OTT, but we'll add it in stages as we go along. As I say, whenever I'm doing anything like this, especially when you're doing something over a long period of time, just keep tasting whenever you can. It just helps solidify what you're doing, or what you've done, or also if there's anything missing needed to it.
The only problem is when you're making a potjie, once you start layering up the stuff, you can't really taste it at that point.
I know, that's why I'm doing it now. Shush. That smells lovely. Add a little bit more in there. So I'm going to start off with my potatoes. If I can figure out where I put them. So we'll do the potatoes in first. Not many, because I have left them whole, but it's the baby potatoes. Whole, skin on, no need to peel them. 2 reasons. One, I'm lazy, and the other reason is I'll lose skin if I try and peel that.
Yeah, and you left me all the big potatoes, so you chose all the baby ones out of there, and then I ended up with all the big ones, so I had to cut them in half.
I'm good like that.
Thank you.
I tried.
Yeah, I stuck mine in first as well.
Yeah.
Then so I put my mushrooms in a bit late. Normally I'd put mushrooms in at this stage as well. Mushrooms can just cook forever.
Yeah, this is the stage where I would put my mushrooms in, had I remembered to get some.
I got mushrooms.
Yeah, whatever. What I'm also going to do now is...
Although that's interesting. It's not something I've done before, and I don't think you've made one like that before with the corn. Like
no,
that.
I haven't.
That's very cool.
But why not? I mean, everybody loves a bit of corn. I know it's got a whole kind of shape, but, you know, for the amount of time this is going to cook, it should probably just...
It'll cook fine. It's just... Yeah, we don't need that one.
Yeah, we didn't need that one. It had a bit of a mark on it. I wasn't confident putting it in.
Yeah, it'll cook through it fine. It'll just be interesting to eat it. But yeah, it should be good, I think.
Yeah, man.
Interesting ingredient.
Why not? Normally, what my dad used to always do is have the little baby corn. Those ones.
Oh, yeah.
Stick those in, and those are always great. But I just would decide to go for the full-size corn and see what happens. So now what I'm putting in is the butternut. Not something I use a lot in a potjie, but again, let's try something new. Why not? That's the whole point of the potjie, is just experiment and try, and you know, if it doesn't work, I'll just blame Sean. So, you know, it's all good. So what I'll do is...
Are those summer squashes, the green ones? In the bowl?
These?
Yeah.
Marrow.
Ah, okay. It's a big old marrow.
Yeah, it was a big old marrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave these in here for half an hour or so before I start layering the rest.
Really?
Nah, this helps them because you've got more.
I do it the really
cavity.
Lazy way.
Yes, I know. Because there's more cavity in here, it's going to allow that steam to form within the pot to kind of really permeate into the.
Be interesting to see the difference, because obviously I've gone with all my ingredients at the same time. It's typically how I do it.
I just like to do things in stages and such. So I'll leave that in there for about half an hour or so. Then add the wet mixture, which will be a mixture of beef gravy, stock.
So what's going to be the beef gravy? Is that just a off-the-shelf gravy, cheating beef gravy?
No. Yes, obviously.
A bit of beef gravy.
Just because what you'll know, what you'll sometimes see with a lot of potjies when you start looking at recipes and doing a bit more research into them, is a lot of them will say add in mushroom soup or brown onion soup just as a thickening agent. Some even say add in flour, which I think the original version of the recipe did. I don't think I'm going to do that. But yeah, the gravy will help with that. Also.
Yeah, I tend not to. I try not to add things to thicken, but it is nice to have a little bit thicker, I guess.
Yes, but again, bearing in mind that the way traditionally we have potjie is, you'll always have it with sadza, or you'll have it with rice, or
yeah. Well, that's something I didn't do the last time. I didn't make any rice, but I like it by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else? What else is going to go in there? Because I'm going to switch off the camera while we have a few drinks for the next. So
what we've got
stages.
here, we've got the marrows. I almost said baby marrows. They're definitely not baby marrows, and some green beans. That's
green beans. Okay.
Yeah, some green beans.
Nice.
If you know me, this is probably the only green vegetable I get.
Yeah, Andre likes vegetables less than any other person I know.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's a funny story with broccoli with my kids. I'm not going to bore you with that, but yeah.
I'm sure that you're going to be asked in the comments to tell that story. But anyway, that we can do that on the 100k special.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Chicken wings.
Thanks. Probably where they the main word there is chicken. But yeah, so we'll leave that going. I'm curious.
Okay, so that's all the ingredients. Yeah. So we're going to add those in after 20 minutes of this.
Yes, and actually I looked at my watch, so I'll know when 20 minutes, half an hour is. Then I'll add the other bits and pieces, pop that in there, add the stock, or the wet ingredients,
and the gravy,
and then just leave it.
Okay, and the stock is just beef stock.
It's just beef stock mixture with the beef gravy as well. So I'll do the stock and the gravy, mix all together.
Sounds
chuck
good.
it in there. Happy days.
Perfect. And then about 2 hours to cook.
More or less. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll come back to you when it's done.
Absolutely. So it's just been a little bit over 2 hours. So let's switch off and just give it a taste and see how it did.
Well, let's have a look inside there.
Hang on.
How's it looking? Mine's looking a little bit like it needs probably another half hour.
No, mine's perfect, eh?
That's looking good.
Obviously.
Excellent.
Really good aromas and smells coming through. Aromas and smells, yeah.
So let's dish some up and try it out.
Yeah. Meat on there.
Does smell good.
It's going to taste even better, I think.
Let's give it a try.
Indeed.
I'm going to take a big piece of meat.
Yeah, you take all my meat.
I'm sure that sounds lovely on the microphone.
Sorry.
That's really good and perfectly cooked. But a little bit more salt, I think.
Yeah,
But that's easy to fix after the fact. Better than putting too much salt while you're cooking.
It's a lot easier adding salt than taking it away. But no, I did say I think I was a little bit hesitant with the amount of salt I was putting in, just to be on the safe side. But as you say, you can just always add a little bit extra. Yeah.
That's good, man. It's going to dish up. I'm going to try mine as well. But we know what mine. Hey. We're going to go and eat our dinner. But thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And it's always great having Andrea back.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for helping.
Pleasure.
Great.
See you guys.
Stay safe and stay spicy.